Right. What is good, people? Monday, the 22nd of September. Another week is in the bag for marathon training. Week 2, done, locked in, signed, sealed, delivered. Thank you very much. As always, going to run through my training for the week. I'm actually going to be a run down. I just did a run this morning to make up for Sunday's long run. So I did it this morning, Monday. So I'll talk about that in next week's uh, update video or recap video if you like. So that aside, this week let's find the activity in Strava. So that's the 9K. This week started out on Tuesday, which I think would have been the 16th. Yep. So my 5K. 5K. What's the 5K? Is it easy? I think it's a 5K easy, yeah. Did that in 36 minutes, 25 seconds. So an average pace maintained of 7:16 per kilometer. Felt all right. However, what I would say about that run is about 20 or 30 minutes before the run, I actually tried to take some sweets, just some small sweets, like, like refreshers, for example, like the small versions of those. I had like 3 of them basically, just to what I thought would kind of just give me energy and fuel me. Bruh, that stayed in my stomach and just sat in my stomach for part of that run. It wasn't nice. So I think I made some notes. By maybe like the 2nd or 3rd kilometer, I started to feel it. And yeah, so I've said it felt decent, really struggling with pacing on the 1st kilometer. That is true. I've really struggled with pacing. I think I'm going way slower than I actually am. But also what doesn't help is where I start my run, it's on a bit of a gradient. And so I start it downhill. And so, yeah, it's not ideal. Yeah, so with this run, I was trying to maintain like 7:30 per kilometer as an easy run. But like as I was starting out, that just felt so slow. Um, yeah. Anyway, so between the 4th and the 5th kilometer, my stomach felt a bit heavy. So obviously, it's because of the couple of sweets, and yeah, I started to feel it around that mark. However, by the 5th kilometer, it started to settle. Um, I said my legs felt alright. I felt in the bottom of my left foot a little bit, so kind of like where if I was to get plantar fasciitis, where it would be, but by no stretch of the imagination was it pain, but I just felt it ever so slightly. If on a scale of 1 to 10, it would literally be a 1. So I was slightly worried that this was the onset of plantar fasciitis, especially as I have been feeling it a little bit over the past couple of days. But again, as the run went on, it felt okay. Overall, happy with the run. So that was Tuesday's 5K easy. Just quickly, let me very quickly interrupt my own video to give you my weight update, because I realized and remembered during the week that I didn't do that in last week's one. And I didn't even do it as part of this recording just now. It was only after I finished the recording that I remembered, oh my days, I forgot to do a weight update. So let me quickly do that now and then get back into the original video. So I've been weighing myself on Monday mornings. So I weighed myself this morning before my run and last Monday. So if you remember in my first video that I did, I weighed in at 113.7 kilograms. Last week, the week later, on the 15th of September, I weighed in at 112.7 kilograms, so exactly a kg down. And then this morning, before my run, as I say, I weighed in at 111 kg on the dot, so 1.7 kg down from last week. So the weight is shifting. The weight is shifting. Don't get me wrong. Outside of the runs, I am kind of on my feet, walking about, active. So that will contribute to that. Don't get me wrong. And obviously, as you know, I am in the gym as well. Although this week I've only got in once, or only got in once, should I say. But yeah, that's my weight update. So let's get back to the video and this week's training update. I did a 6K steady run. So yeah, that was a pace of 7 minutes 16. I did a 6K steady run on Thursday. Did that in 37 minutes 36 seconds. So maintained the pace of 6 minutes 15 per kilometer. I don't think I made any notes on this run, but so yeah, can't really say much because I've forgotten how I felt after that. But I guess I felt alright. And then yes, on Saturday I ended up doing. Wait, was it Saturday? Or was it? Bro, I wish this thing would give you the day of the week. September the 20th. When was that? Calendar. September 20th. Yeah, Saturday. Although this was meant to be, was it meant to be on Friday? Because there was one day where I didn't do the run. Oh, you know what? Sorry. So I didn't run on Thursday. I ran on Friday instead. So I was meant to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Well, I was meant to do Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, but I didn't run on Thursday. So I ran on Friday. So I say I was meant to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday because obviously I didn't even run Sunday. I ran this morning. Again, we'll cover that in next week's recap. But so the one that I just said, the 6K, was on Friday, and Saturday evening I did an indoor treadmill run because it'd been a very long day. I'd been on my feet all day. I was actually very tired. I couldn't be bothered to run outside. So I just said, you know what? I'll just go to the gym and I'll run on the treadmill. So I did a treadmill run for 4K, kept it nice and slow because it was meant to be a recovery run. So maintain a pace of 8-10 per kilometer. I mean, it felt pretty easy, to be honest with you. Almost felt like I wasn't even running. I stayed in zone one the whole time, to give you an idea. And I've said here, treadmill, what's this note I made here? Treadmill runs are interesting as it felt like I was going faster than my recovery run last week, which obviously I did outdoors. But obviously so much easier to maintain consistent pacing, obviously, which has been my gripe. Obviously, I mentioned that at the start of this video, on these runs. Also, the machine was annoying and did everything in miles, so I had to calculate a conversion and estimate from there, but managed to get within the window I was hoping for. So yeah, that was a indoor treadmill run. I might do some more of those going forward, just because, yeah, as I say, it's easy to maintain pace, especially for a recovery run. I think I might do more of those going forward. Yeah, easy to maintain pace, and yeah, I mean, I was happy with that. So those are the runs for this week. As I say, my Sunday long run, 9K long run, I did this morning. So I will cover in next week's video. But for now, that was training for this week. I literally managed to get into the gym once this week on Monday morning, which I'm very, very annoyed about. But this week I'm hoping to get in at least 3 times. So we'll see, just depends on the schedule and how things go. I also need to start thinking about changing. Maybe I won't change it up just yet. Maybe when I get into that actual marathon training, because obviously right now it's all just base training, right? Just getting myself to a certain base level where my body's used to the amount of runs that I'm doing, where my body's used to the distance and the mileage that I'm covering. So for now, I might keep my split-ish as to how I've been doing it, and how I've been training in the gym, that is. However, when I get to, I think it's from like January, that it will be like actual, okay, marathon prep training, will I maybe change up my routine and make it more specific for kind of obviously marathon style running, etc., right? And then I'm kind of thinking longer term after that, to be honest with you, just transition into like a hybrid type athlete where I don't focus on one or the other, because I'm enjoying running at the moment. And I always get like this when I do get into running, I do catch the bug and I do enjoy running. So I'm enjoying it right now. And so I can see myself kind of after the marathon kind of converting into a kind of hybrid athletes. Don't really like the use of that word because obviously I'm not an athlete per se, but you know what I mean. Where I train for both kind of running and weight training, right? So yeah, that was this week. So this week, obviously, I'm going to have, or that was last week, should I say. This week, I'm obviously going to be doing 5 runs, because today was meant to be a rest day, but it won't be anymore, or it hasn't been anymore because I've had to do my 9K long run. So it'll be Monday, Tuesday, rest Wednesday, Thursday, rest Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where the long run I think this week is 10K. So obviously, as you can see, it gradually increases to a peak of 32 kilometers, I want to say, which to me right now seems so crazy. And then when you couple in the fact that when you're in kind of marathon mode, marathon prep, if you like, so that window between Jan to I think the end of March, those 3 months, when you consider the fact that I'll be doing like 32 Ks, right? But then the last 10K, I'll have to be running at, marathon pace, my target marathon pace, which is about 5:40 per kilometer, right? So you do the first, let's say 22 kilometers at, I don't know what pace, just I haven't seen properly, but you do the first 22 kilometers. And then after that, you're then meant to push on and do 5:40 per kilometer for the last 10 kilometers up until 32 kilometers, which to me right now seems such a distance away. So I'm so far from that. But yeah, because I reckon I can maintain that marathon pace right now for 5K, let's say. Yeah, 540 per kilometer. I can probably only maintain that for 5k. So to have to do that for 10k, 22k into a run, it sounds mad. But we'll get there. It's all part of the training, right? And I'm feeling good with each run. Um, Also, one thing I'm finding interesting is just this whole, because before this, as I say, because I haven't been like a runner in the past. Before this, every run I went on was to try and beat a PB for whatever distance I was running. Do you get what I mean? If I was running a set distance, so like this whole 5k easy or 4k recovery run is like, to me, is just wild. I'm not used to running like slower than I know I can go. Do you get what I mean? So all these timings that I'm giving you aren't, or this is why you might be thinking, for example, if I'm running like, let's say the 4k I did in I think it was like 32 minutes, and then I go and do a 5k in however long. It's because obviously the different types and styles of runs, right? You've got recovery runs, steady runs, long runs, etc. So the pacing will be different for each run. So yeah, getting used to that in my head is mad, because I'll come to the end of like an easy run, for example, and I'm like, in my head, I want to either pick up the pace for the last kilometer, so I'm like maxed out by the end of the run, or just run further. Do you get what I mean? But like, I need to rein it in, press the brakes a little bit, and just remember what I'm doing this for. So yeah, that was this week, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Wishing you all a fantastic week ahead. And obviously, I will update you next week with how I get on with this week's training. 5 runs this week could be interesting. My fault, but still could be interesting. But yeah, I'll catch you in the next update. Peace.